Hello and welcome to All in Motion. I am your host, Jake Harrison. Thank you all for taking the time to join us this afternoon. This is episode 9, Sacrifice. My next guest is a good friend and my brother. He's been there for me on a lot of times when I've in darkest moments throughout my life. Ladies and gentlemen, Karl Oakley. Karl, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So what's up, man? Why are you in DC and decided to stop by All in Motion?
Well, came here to the DC area to celebrate 31 years of service of a good friend of mine to dedicate 31 years of service to the United States Air Force. So it was just a joy to celebrate such a legacy.
Right. So topic is about sacrifice,
Mm.
and I know that's really deep for both of us, but for you, when you really take a look at it, and we've both been through so much throughout both of our lives. Before we really dig in and get into it, sacrifice to you, what does it mean to you?
I think anytime I'm looking at sacrifice, I know for me it's about giving up of something, giving up something that I think us as human beings we're so used to putting ourselves in a state of comfort. We like comfortability. We don't like stepping outside of that. So, letting go of those things that are comfortable, so that we can either do something that we want to do, or become something that we've always wanted to become. We must sacrifice, give up something that we are completely comfortable with.
Right. No, that's good. That's awesome. Okay, quick too. Also, please just a brief introduction of who you are and originally where you're from and where you live now.
Yeah. So I am a husband. I'm a hard worker. I am a server, a servant leader. I currently reside in Raleigh, North Carolina. Originally from awesome city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and just doing some work right now in the area and for a cybersecurity company. I also do some work on the side as a consultant, lifestyle consultant, and pretty much anything and everything to get the job done or the result of the lifestyle that my wife and I want to live. I pretty much do it all.
That's awesome. And taking a step back, it's like I said, the topic and this episode in particular is about sacrifice. Um, when and what part of your life do you feel though as if you first really experienced some people just really sacrificing something?
Yeah, I think overall, my greatest example of sacrifice came from my father. My father did come from a total family. At the time, it was a family of five, you know, and my father did whatever needed to be done so that we would have food on the table, clothes on our back. I've seen this guy work 16-hour shifts to leave one job, go to another job, and really so sacrificing that time and that he could spend with his family so that he can go out and provide. That was at that time. That was the great example of sacrificing that I seen from my own standpoint, just as a kid coming up. Uh, at that time, really sacrificing was really like a choice from my parents, right? So I didn't really understand what, even though I had the example of my father, I didn't have a complete understanding of what sacrificing is or what it meant to sacrifice something. But I did have my father and my mom help guide in my decisions in that. So it would be something like, hey, I would have to sacrifice my need of wanting something from the store because guess what? They were in, during that time in Philly, it was crazy. Either you had people shootouts, you had, a bunch of crazy stuff, or it was just too dangerous. The things that were the events that were taking place around it in the city, drugs and all types of other stuff. So my parents said, hey, you know what? I know you want such and such from the store, but guess what? You can't have it right now. That's the sacrifice you have to make because you know why? You put yourself into danger. So I think those are just some examples that I can really share from early on.
You and I met it when I was got back from Afghanistan in 2010 at Bloomsburg University, and just put it simply this way: we had our share of fun for a good long period of time. It was probably the best part of my life. I really look back on it now. Meeting you. No, it really was. Just to give a little bit of context. But from there we moved we transitioned to DC. But I just wanted to know, getting into it with you. How were you able to surrender? And can you get in actually after all the craziness and the recklessness that you were doing and you were involved in? If you don't mind going into a little bit of detail with that, what you were doing, and then how long until you were like, what, I gotta surrender and give up. And if it is it. It's like opportunity cost, and we learned that in macroeconomics. The opportunity cost is like, okay, I can have this slice of pizza and gain these carbs and this weight, or I can go to a gym and lose this weight and maybe live an extra week or two, or be healthier, and if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I totally understand. I have no problem sharing that. Clinical psychologist Jordan Peterson says it's time to let go and to sacrifice who you are for who you could become. So during that time, who was I? I was a guy who I was a professional, and to an extent, but at the same time, my personal life, it was partying all the time. It was your drugs, alcohol. It was just all my mindset was just good time, and I knew that I couldn't sustain a life like that. I knew that at some point in time, that road was going to come to an end. So it was either going to come to an end, like, hey, you know what? I'm no longer living, or I'm just going. It's going to be I'm living the rest of my life is going to be completely. I'm have some sort of like illness or things that nature. Just things that come from living that type of life. So I had to make a change. So for me, it was all about introspection. I said, okay, Karl, where do you want to go? Who do you want to become? How do you see your life? And what do you need to do to get there? What do you need to give up? So it was straight up, no holds bar, making a decision. You know what? I cut off all social media, went straight cold turkey. It's like nobody could get a hold of me, X, Y, and Z. You know what? Cut the clubs all together, X, Y, and Z. But I just got completely focused on who I wanted to become. I started surrounding myself with those different people who had that, who are an example of what I wanted to become, because I didn't know how to get there. And by surrounding myself with those individuals and listening to those individuals, I was able to help. I was able to paint a picture of who I wanted to be as a man and as an individual, which soon what later led to me becoming a husband and a person, served in the church and doing all those things now. So, yeah, it was definitely a lot of sacrifice that had to be made to transition to who I am now.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. That's deep. And I definitely can relate to that. Looking at back in my 20s. I think I'm in my late 20s, but just definitely, and a lot about this, just making decisions without even, having that military experience. But I think you agree too with some of us that actually, when we deployed, we come home. A lot of us, went through school, transitioned, went right to the military, came back home. We didn't think about some of those consequences.
Yeah.
And that leads a lot into this what this podcast, All Emotion, is about. Not just about PTSD and mental health just within the military, but addressing it in general across the nation and outside the United States as well. But it's like, for me, you have to give up certain things if you want to live a healthy life. And not just a healthy life, but, I learned about integrity when I was in boarding school, right? People get confused with honesty and integrity. And the difference is integrity is doing the right thing when no one's around. Honesty is obviously, telling someone the truth or doing the right thing. Integrity is you're an integral person. You're like, I'm going to do the right thing regardless of who's ever around.
Oh, yeah.
And those are things that a lot of people, unfortunately, and, we all struggle with this too. I think we got to all be honest. We're not perfect. How do we get to those things? And we have to sacrifice. So could you shed a little bit of light? Like, do you ever self-reflect? I know you do a lot of self-reflection daily, and it goes in with, it ties into sacrifice. Like, what could I give up today? And it could be, and this is just in general for people. It could be like, I'm going to eat less. I'm gonna, some people have an addiction. And I'm not trying to be inappropriate with sex. They really do. They have multiple partners. Some people have a gambling problem, drugs, alcohol. I mean, etc. But I think we're all working, we're all growing, and I do it daily. I try to do a daily reflection and what today can I do to give up to be a better me, and I think you see this with me with this podcast is reaching out. And you told me, I remember, you're like, dude, it's not about you anymore. This is not about you. This is about helping other people. And that's what makes me, for the most part, I have my slip ups in terms of like being consistent, but for the most part, um, you know, listening to people like I did today, it really it means a lot to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I'm doing something finally that after the reason why I sometimes repeat this in different podcasts, because it took me 21 years to do this, and that goes in. I remember you telling me about selfishness,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that sacrifice, giving that up and giving this back, because you talked about it all the time and we talk about it. There are so many, not just veterans, there's so many people that have it worse, live in different countries that might not even eat or drink water today.
Mm-hmm.
And in America, and that's the thing, what I'm saying is like, and I definitely, and I think a lot of people should hear what I'm about to say. What I believe is important is definitely like, I know, and I want, if you don't want me sharing this and you sharing this, your wife and you give money away, and you mind sharing that, because that's sacrifice in a sense, because you don't have to give that, no, you don't have to give that money away, you know what I mean, in a sense, you don't.
I think it comes to it boils down to the result. I mean, what is it that you want? Uh, how do you want to be as a how do you want to be remembered as a person? What kind of lifestyle you want to leave? Do you want to lead? Excuse me, and what kind of legacy do you want to leave? So I think in that sense, it's understanding that um, serving is best, and it takes sacrifice to serve, because you're giving something of yourself to someone else. So, for me, it is, you know, for my wife and I, or for me, it is resources. Could be money, could be time. Um, but the result of that is not for us to get a light shined on us, but to help it's helping that individual or family or organization, or something along that line.
How can people that are struggling, what can they do, and what advice would you give them to be, more selfless, and actually, you know, give more, and give up more, and actually sacrifice.
It's about making it. At the end of the day, man, you have to make a decision, or life is going to make a decision for you. Because if you don't sacrifice something now, uh, you're eventually going to come to a point where life is going to make a decision for you on what to sacrifice. So what I mean by that. So let's say you are someone who has a boatload of money and X, Y, and Z, and time, and you're all about yourself. Well, here's the thing: money, you can't take it with you. Your time, it it can't be all about you. So eventually, it's going to come to a point where, you know what, you're going to have to turn the TV off, or you're going to have to hold off on, hey, you know what, I know I wanted this new vehicle, or I wanted this new watch, or X, Y, and Z, and but take that time to put into whether an organization or someone in your family, or something like that, because this life we live is not about us. It's about everyone else. It's about other people. And I understand that the word sacrifice itself is scary. Just the overall thought of giving something up that you truly love, so that you can either become someone else, um, or so that you can sow into someone else. That's scary, because you like what you have. You like the position that you're in. But I think when we change the mindset, and how we actually, the lens from which we view um, sacrifice in, and focus on the result that we want. The result is I want a better outcome in life, or I want a better this, I want a better that, then it helps us to sacrifice and give up to certain things that we're comfortable with.
That's an awesome answer. It really is. Relationships. I want to touch on it. And I had a woman ask me, it was today actually, on a platform, a social media, a networking platform, asking me about a particular question. She said, went on a date, went over the guy's house. We need to get into details. They, just whatever. She left, and she just the bottom line is this: what trying to get to, and what I'm asking you is, what would you say to couples on how to, you know, because a lot of people, bottom line is what she said was, she's gonna give up dating for a period of time, and she's just not worth it for her because she feels it's not there anymore. What could how could we not just in general give up to potentially make a relationship work?
At the end of the day, you got to die to self. A relationship, marriage, it's you can't come from individualistic perspective on it. It's about two people. It's a team coming together to make something work. To to result. What's the result? To have a successful marriage. Most people go into this thing and they think it's about it's about happiness, about everything they've seen in the movies and things of that nature. Well, no, that's not what it's about. It's about selflessness. It's about dying to self. It's about serving. So, in order to get to that point, to grow, to become that person as an individual and also as a couple, there's some things you have to give up as sacrifice. If you're somebody who, while you were single, like myself, we used to go to the clubs and things of that nature and doing whatever else I wanted, obviously that's not conducive to making a relationship work. So the sacrifice is, you know what? I'm no longer about that life. I'm all in on my marriage. I'm all in on my relationship because that's what the focal point is. That's what matters. It's the same thing in business. If if you're gonna be in business, you got to be all in. So guess what? The going out, the happy hours, yeah, it's okay every now and then to do something to decompress, whether it be watch a movie, whether it be sit back and read a book or something like that. But your overall focus is your business. So guess what? There's no it's having a conversation with your friends. Yo, man, I love you. You still my homie. We can still kick it, but my focus right now is it really is my business, and that's the sacrifice that has to be made in order to get the result that you want. Successful business, decent cash flow, whatever it is that you so called desire. A sacrifice, that level of sacrifice has to be made.
Right. That's awesome. And then follow up with that is with people, young individuals. What message would you give them? Because today, social media is really, really. I was just. I'm not gonna get into that, but young people. I'll say this: very young, are on social media, and there is an advantage in a tool and in a something there that actually is beneficial for someone young. But today it's like we're so tied. We don't communicate anymore. We're so we don't meet anymore in person. This and that. It's like dating is like on this or dating on this and that. So in terms of sacrifice in social media, that's where I'm going with this. How could young people, from what you've experienced, and you and I are similar age, basically the same age, didn't really have that. We on social media, we didn't really have like an issue. Today, it's like people are very young. How can we push the message or help or push? It's so easy to say you pick up a book and read and put the phone down. But what message would you say to really push to young entrepreneurs or young students in high school, newly undergrad students, to keep them focused and motivated and use social media as a tool, but also to be careful that it doesn't take over your life and that you're sacrificing either your education, relationships, or you use other things um, in that context.
No, as God, I would say it's something that the late great Jim Rohn said. Everyone's going to choose one of two pains: either the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And I would share with someone who's in that um, age range, or who's really focused on the social medias and things of that nature of the world. I would say, listen, you're going to regret some things about your life because you spent so much time and effort focusing on the lives of other people who were willing to make the sacrifice to become what they wanted to become. And you're going to look back years later, um, 20 years later, things of that nature, and you're going to say to yourself, man, I should have, man, I wish I did this, I wish I did that, I could have been this, I could have been that. You're going to have some level of regret because you weren't disciplined enough to put down the phone or the computer and say, you know what, an hour is okay. It's when social media consumes and takes complete control of your life. That's when it becomes a big time hindrance. But if you could figure out a way to dedicate, you know what, I'll say to yourself, I'll dedicate an hour. You know what, I really want to see what's going on in the world. My favorite celebrity, X, Y, and Z. I'll dedicate an hour. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. I do it. I like it. I like social media. But sacrifice says, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead. There's some things I wanted to know about building a strong network. There's some things I wanted to know about people skills. So you know what? I'm gonna take time out, about 30 minutes to go read a book. I'm gonna put my phone down. I'm gonna read the book. Or instead of playing on social media and worry about what celebrities got this and that going on, I'm actually gonna have some conversations with some individuals who I admire and really respect in the area of business. Reach out to them and see if I can have a solid, decent conversation with them. So that's the level of sacrifice that has to be made. Or you just tell yourself, you know what, I'm not able to do so, and this is where I'm at, and this is what it's going to be. Be real with yourself and say, you know what, I'm all about social media. Social media consumes my life. Be real with yourself and be prepared to live a life of mediocrity. And just know that, at mediocrity and regret. And just know that, hey, I was happy with what social media did for my life, and that's it. And just live a life of regret. So, I think I would just be completely transparent with those individuals, and I would share something to that effect.
You're starting a coaching business. If there's one free thing you could give away
Mm-hmm.
for young, middle aged, you know, and when you and I speak about it a lot, you know, don't work 9 to 5 till I'm 65, 70 years old, and you see people, unfortunately don't manage their money. Being that we're veterans, not that this is about that, we see a lot of veterans, unfortunately, homelessness. We see a lot of veterans struggling, financially, how to save and invest. From, I love your coaching business and where you're going with it. If there's one free teaser or one free thing you can give away, either like a weekly or a monthly goal for, like I said, someone in a general, for someone that's, let's say, a young student in high school going into, potentially the military, going into undergrad or associate's degree, or even a certification program, what could they do to prepare for that in what you do in your coaching business? If you give one free tip.
I would say that the time is now. Whatever it is that you're thinking, business, school, anything, relationship, um, job, anything, the time is now. I talk to so many people that say, man, I'm just waiting for the right time. And my response to them is like, when is that? No one knows when the right time is. The right time is now. Because here's the thing, the result comes from the execution. When you execute and you just move out on whatever it is that you're thinking, guess what? You start learning and you start seeing little results if little results from if you hadn't made a decision to step outside of your comfort zone to move in that direction of whatever it is that you want for your life. So I would say that the time is now. Stop waiting, get moving, start studying for whatever that degree is or that certification it is. Start putting together a business plan, connecting with the right people for whatever that business is that you want. Start connecting with the people, those hiring managers, those technical recruiters, things of that nature for whatever job it is that you want. Start surrounding yourself with those individuals, whether it be different conferences or whether it be through LinkedIn or other platforms, connecting with those individuals to build a network of the individuals that you want in your life. That's the advice that I would give. The time is now.
Do you mind sharing? Give you the opportunity to share about KAO Solutions.
Yeah, I'll go into it a little bit.
Just a little bit, because it's important. Please.
KAO Solutions came off the ground here in really 2021. Really, a lot of great things happening here in 2022. So we are a lifestyle consulting business where we help individuals develop a game plan and a roadmap to success. And that success could be relationships, could be a new job, it could be a career, business, it could be wanting to become a better person, wanting to become a leader, just various different things. What I've done is I've taken my years of life and life experiences, along with the things I've done in my professional career, military, corporate America, working for the federal government, things of that nature, and I've developed an arena, a business to where we're sitting down with individuals and even companies and helping them to grow and create a roadmap of success in whatever area of success that they're trying to obtain.
Thank you for sharing. And lastly, before we close out, how can, if you'd like to share, how can people reach out to you?
Yeah, you can find me just my name, Karl Oakley, on either LinkedIn or Facebook. I'm also KAO Solutions on IG, on Instagram, KAO Solutions. Look forward to, please follow me to see any updates or any type of free advice being given out. I look forward to just connecting with anyone and everyone, and we just know that great things lie ahead.
That's great. And we'll definitely be sure to, in our post, when the episode comes out, to include all your contact information so people can reach out to you. Hey, thanks again. I know sometimes I go this and that way, but you're Wait, go ahead.
No, it really has been an honor and a joy to be here on All Emotion.
And I appreciate it. And it's not just me. We have a team, and I consider you part of that team and a great friend. And thank you for taking the time to be here with us today. And there's plenty more so much more powerful things. And I just want to give you someone I spoke to before you came in here said they want to say hello, and they're very excited to hear this and many more episodes. So just want to say thank you again. And thank you again for all the emotion, all of you, for all of our audience. Please be sure to listen to All Emotion Podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, and YouTube.